Okay, this is a scientist that discovered anti-gravity, then disappeared completely.
What? As well includes how a wide variety of grifters get involved in it. There appears to at least be some seed of truth to some of the claims of UAP, UFOs, and anti-gravity manipulative tech. In particular,
boom. Wait, this is the guy? That's the guy, bro? The guy that did the patent?
I don't know. See, I'm telling you, I haven't even had time to dive into this yet.
Bro, we're diving into it right now, Jack. Buckle the fuck up, okay?
Let's
Inventor, Salvatore Caesar Pace. And he worked for the U.S. Department of Navy. It says worldwide applications of the patent. And it was filed in 2016.
So even if he was crazy, it's weird that the Navy's getting the patent on it.
Bro, I'm not trying to disappear.
When it comes to government-funded research. And as a bit of a disclaimer, because I know this subject matter draws out an absolute array of opinions, just know my goal here isn't to change your beliefs, but more.
Jack's getting ready to buckle up. He just ripped his fucking. He ripped his fucking pump cover off.
I actually ripped it off in half.
Yeah, he's excited.
More so, just tell you what I found and entertain you. So let's get into it. As we are going to discuss the disappearance of one particular scientist by the name of Dr. Ning Li.
Wait, when's the last time Barely Sociable posted? Did they post this video and disappear too? No. Okay, 1 year ago they posted this and then okay, never mind.
By the way, shout out to my editor, Theo Schaefer, is texting me right now saying, "Bro, you better say my name on the stream." So, shout out to Theo. He's helped me a lot.
Now, this story obviously begins with one particular physicist by the name of Dr. Ning Li, who was working at the Center for Space Plasma and Aeronomic Research and the University of Alabama Huntsville in the 1990s. Ning Li's main claim to fame here seemed to come from a variety of her peer-reviewed papers that she published during this time, in which a theory of hers predicted a practical way to create an anti-gravity effect.
I think the theory already hold there, they published it through the review process. Then that's very controversial. I know a lot of people criticize it. But fortunately, nobody found any mistake in my papers. So just about no mistake, but people don't believe it. I know until I got an experimental result, I can show people.
And before I try to explain any of her research,
listen, you can reduce.
Is a woman?
Yeah. Oh, you don't believe it now? Not credible. Chat.
No, shout out.
Yeah, no.
Women in STEM.
The real mystery. The real mystery is how she got there. Oh, no. The real mystery is avoiding the top of the hour ad break. At the top of the hour, there's a 6-second ad break. It's coming right now. I forgot to run it at 4 because I got really deeply invested into these stories. If you no longer want to see those ads, you don't need a saucer or a Navy patent. All you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account or by getting gifted a sub. If you're lucky, here's a woman ad break now. Boom. Has your guest been to space? No, dude.
I want to make clear that when I'm referring to anti-gravity, I'm essentially referring to gravity manipulation, as gravity is a fundamental force of nature. And in regards to Ning Li's research, the core idea included in her papers seemed to stem from one core concept, that being things called superconductors, which are essentially a substance that can conduct electricity with no resistance, meaning that no energy is lost from point A to point B. Now, generally the state of superconductivity is achieved when a substance cools to a particular critical temperature, and generally one of the cooler side effects, no pun intended, for achieving this critical temperature is the expulsion of the substance's magnetic field, and that's what you're witnessing right now. Now, this is obviously one example from a broad, sweeping concept that could be applied to the future of superconductors. And as you can
Wait, why'd you say superconductors are 100% fake? Is it? Dude, what the fuck? 157 shadows rated as segue, average of 4.71 out of 10. Good attempt, Hossi. Wide people said, what the fuck? Chat, stop rating me so low, dude. What is this shit?
What does that mean?
So, as a contractual obligation by Amazon, I run ads on my stream. Okay, and I run 1 minute of ads per hour. So I usually have gamified it. I asked my stream, I was like, should we make this should I just auto run these ads and then it just, you just boom, get hit in the face with an ad? Or should I gamify it and I bake it into my commentary so that like it's more fun. And then I like kind of pause the comment, I pause it too, so like people don't miss out on the stream. And they decided it's better to just like stop and do a segue, do what we call a debate. So then someone built a bot that tallies what people's ratings are, if my segue was good or not.
Oh wow, okay, so they're reviewing the segue.
But it's just yet another example that democracy doesn't work, because everybody always like fucks over even Nim has more ad density than you. Yeah, my ad density is gonna fucking go up a lot too, don't worry.
Dude, I just got a funny text update that Chelsea, my fiance, said that like my mother-in-law just texted her saying that like I tried listening to the recent episode of Jack's podcast and turned it off, it was too scary, and she's telling her other family members not to listen to my podcast.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody.
Wait, but this is like a concern. I mean, dude, this thing I recorded last night is fucked up. Like, I'm kind of curious. I have all these people at the disposal now. Like, is really scary like good, or will that be like bad for the show ultimately? I don't know. I want this to be mainstream big. But.
Last night, my friend Will said something that I consider to be brilliant, where he was like, spicy food is like scary movies. You like ramp yourself up to it. And I love spicy food. I hate scary movies, but I totally get it. Like at first you might not like it. At first you might not appreciate it, but over time, the more you fucking build a tolerance for it, the more you want,
I don't even think the episode she's talking about is scary, even. Like, I think it's spooky and weird. Like, it's the jack-off one. The djinn. That's what she turned off.
I mean, it is spooky. I
guess Chelsea is Egyptian, but...
Yeah,
But her mom isn't, so...
Oh, I was going to say, we don't fuck with that shit, but... Okay, let's continue.
Imagine having incredibly efficient electricity would be highly useful for a number of reasons, beyond just the gravitomagnetic effect. But on that same note, one of the main problems with superconductors is that you need incredibly cold temperatures to achieve this. This has led to an interest in high-temperature superconductors, which is actually referring to substances that superconduct above negative 196 Celsius. And realistically, for these things to probably...
Yeah, one thing you could do is make the episodes progressively spookier and scarier throughout the entire season, so you're like slowly spooky pilling everybody.
That's what I'm doing, and there's going to be some nice ones coming up. Like, there's like... some funny ones and a couple really nice ones. I think some of them I'm most excited about are like sweet. Like, well, there's one of the sweet ones is like sad too, but it's there's some nice ones. Like there's some cool ones, and there's some that are just like fun. Like I don't know how to explain it,
Okay.
But and then and there's gonna be some crazy ones. But dude, honestly, I think the world is ready for it. Like I think everybody's too wrapped up in like NPR brained neoliberalism, It's like
no, there's definitely a hella right wing audience.
No, I know
for fucking demon time, because they believe that like demons exist in the murals of 13-year-old girls and shit.
But like the left doesn't have that much of an option outside of like Sedona, Arizona, and that's kind of like laughed off of like the the new age ant. But I think that's like. There needs to be room for that.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't like adequate like conspiracy theory left content before TrueAnon, I think. So you fill another void there.
Yeah, where it's like, people that could believe in something or suspend disbelief at least, but why let them have all the fun? Is what I say.
My girlfriend's dad is a pastor, and he has witnessed exorcisms in India. Demons exist. Okay, bro.
Dude.
Anyway, all right, let's continue with this.
Change our day-to-day lives, such as the ever so elusive hoverboard. There's definitely going to be a need for a room temperature superconductor, which has yet to be discovered yet. And while I will note last year the first room temperature superconductor was found, the only problem with it is that it only existed under extreme levels of pressure, making it really unusable for the average person. But all of that being said, where Dr. Ning Li fits into this is her creation and claim that a high-temperature superconducting disk...
Okay, I'm sorry, but the moment that I see, like, an old-ass website that you're pulling with this font and shit, the credibility is shaken a little bit. I'm a big aesthetics guy when it comes to this sort of stuff, because I don't have the science background to comprehend whether this is, like, possible or not. So I look at the optics a little bit, and the moment I see Comic Sans with this, like, 3D print...
Fire, though. Some of the UFO stuff is all like 1999. Like if you go into the Area 51 stuff, you'll find some of the coolest website aesthetics because it's all like 99, early web guys that made like UFO blogs that are still up.
Yeah.
It's surprising which ones are like still up. I think these dudes paid like for 30-year contracts for like their web pages,
Yeah, back when the internet was cheap.
Like the Space Jam site. Remember how that was up for a long time? I think they finally...
Oh, really?
The original Space Jam site, they finally took it down, but at one point, if you went to spacejam.com, I think it was like the original website, but now they have that new movie, so they replaced it. There's like a few that are still up, some funny ones. Wait, so are you believing this?
Developing and could essentially create a force field-like effect. The first notable paper here was Effects of Gravitomagnetic Field on Pure Superconductors, and it was published in 1991. A year later, she would publish another paper by the name of Gravitational Effects on the Magnetic Attenuation of Superconductors, and in a subsequent paper just a year later called Gravitoelectric Electric Coupling via Superconductivity was also peer-reviewed and published. Now, I'm not a physics channel, but I will include links to these papers that you can check out for yourself. But to summarize Ning Li's theory...
Yeah, I'm sure there's like physicist people who will check it out.
She essentially noted that rotating ions spinning in a perpendicular field to their spin axis would create an anti-gravity effect if a large number of ions could be aligned in something called a Bose-Einstein condensate, which is essentially an exotic state of matter in which all of the atoms act as one, where she theorized that this alignment may be possible by trapping superconductor ions in a lattice structure in a high-temperature superconducting disk, which in turn led to the development of a 12...
I've already tuned out. Like, it just sounds like nerd science shit, and I'm like, it's probably true. It's on Wikipedia. Seems about right. That's as far as my brain can go. I'm like, Bose-Einstein super megaphonic conductorism is like, I don't know what the fuck that is.
That's why I have the Harvard dude, and I'll need to probably get a couple more guys like that, because also, like, I don't have the patience to, like, I'm not a good researcher, I like doing the interviewing people, firsthand encounters, but I start to zone out, dude. I have ADHD. It's bad.
Me too. I have no idea what the fuck's going on.
The kind where you like get sent home for biting kids in elementary school kind.
You bit kids? You had a demon in you, dude.
Maybe it was a demon.
Murat's not a physicist, guys. He's a aerospace and mechanical engineer. He built satellites.
Who?
My brother.
Oh, that's
I think you met him.
He probably knows some things, dude.
Yeah. Well, I went to the Boeing facility where they like open it up once every like 20 years or something for a civilian population to come and like look at what they're doing. And I yelled at every scientist there. I was like, tell me the truth about flat Earth. I was like fucking around.
I think,
but
dude, have you
I was testing them. I was like,
I haven't had the time to look into it, but like there's a bunch of spooky stuff relating to Jet Propulsion Lab up in Pasadena. Like there's the NASA, I think it's a Jet Propulsion Lab, but also I think Aleister Crowley was doing a bunch of weird like satanic like Hollywood.
Well, I do think,
stuff
okay, so here's the thing. I do think that a lot of these fucking scientists are goofy as fuck. Like, I think their brains are warped by, looking at numbers too much. And I do think that they believe in a lot of weird ass shit and can also have like, personal mental health complications. So
I was exaggerating about biting people in elementary school. I didn't bite people.
A couple of years ago, there was a Mexican radio show called La Mano Peluda, where the radio host named Juan Ramos Sanz, who would have people that call in to tell paranormal experience stories. One of the last stories he had on ultimately led to his unusual and sudden death. What?
That's wild.
Jack, you fucking protect yourself, dude.
That's another episode I'm doing. I'm gonna take a picture of that to look into it.
Dude, you are such a fucking boomer.
Spanish language episode this year.
I love that you're just taking photos on your phone on the chat.
It's just the easiest way. I mean, what am I, dude? Do you really want me texting you? Be like, hey, send those screenshots, bro.
No, yeah, there's no shot I'd be able to pull that anyway.
No, I'm doing Mexico has some crazy ghost stories, and I have one from Venezuela this year that's in Spanish. I do not speak Spanish, so I had to have other people help me with that. Palma, a famous poster / of Seeking Derangements. You know that podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's been helping me translate and edit Spanish stuff.
Wait, Jack Parsons, founder of JPL and Thelemite who knew Aleister Crowley personally and did a sex ritual with L. Ron Hubbard and Marjorie Cameron.
There we go. See, I knew, like, I haven't looked into this stuff yet, but that's something that people have told me.
L. Ron Hubbard was like a science fiction writer.
I also heard there's like some weird plaques out there. And you know what's funny is that it's just so pretty in that area. It's like Pasadena. I like to hike over there. It's between Pasadena and like La Cañada Flint Ridge, I think is up there.
What the fuck is this, bro? In the spring of 1946, L. Ron Hubbard and John W. Parsons performed a series of magical rituals with the aim of incarnating the Thelemic goddess Babylon in a human being. Hubbard's cooperation with Parsons, known as the Babylon Working, remains one of the most controversial events in Hubbard's pre-Scientology days. This article sets out to describe the content of the magical rituals as well as their purpose. It is argued that in order to fully understand these events, it is necessary to approach the Babylon Working from the study of Western esotericism in general and the study of Enochian magic in particular. What?
Where is this? Also, it's behind a $35 paywall. What?
Yeah, this is like a fucking, what is this, a Brill Scholarly Journal? What the fuck is that?
What is that?
God, L. Ron Hubbard is so fucking crazy. Newman?
Doesn't that? It just reminds me of like the Nixium cult. It looks a lot like the Nixium logo.
Or like, you know, Dave's Vault guys do shit like that too sometimes.
But so wait, John Parsons founded the Jet Propulsion Lab? NASA Jet Propulsion Lab? Is that who that is?
I'm
not, I don't know anything about this. People come up to me and they'd be like, you gotta look into this, like whatever.
Please have a fucking Thelemite on, please. Lon Milo Duquette is in California. You sound like a goober talking about magic in Babylon and Thelema. Holy shit, please. Wait, what? What the fuck is a Thelemite, dog? Why are you writing in all caps like I am a goober. This motherfucker said like, you don't know about my Dungeons and Dragon group, you fucking loser. Like basically to me. Wow, what a fucking loser you are, dude. You don't know about the fucking D&D sessions we host?
It's so hard to read the comments. Trying to read the flow. It's like reading the Matrix. You're able to do it though.
Yeah, I mean,
ritual magic. So this is freaky. I've never explored this, but if you ever get the chance to hang out around the places where there's either like any kind of aerospace or remote Air Force base, it's very spooky even in like non-paranormal ways. Like Mojave, California is in the middle of the desert, like the actual town of Mojave. It's where a lot of private space companies are. It's also very near an Air Force base, and then also they bring planes there to like repair them, I believe. There's like almost like a plane graveyard. But I've been up there a couple times for work, and it's also just like kind of a road trip stop that makes sense for camping. But there's very limited businesses there, and it's like all of these like engineers that work there, mostly men. And so you go into like the two places in town you could eat are McDonald's or like this Thai restaurant, and you go in there and everybody has a lanyard. It's always like these like men, these like 45-year-old men eating together. And you know, it's just so spooky. Like all of these guys are working on like weird top secret stuff. And same with Jet Propulsion Lab. When you go around there, you'll like start clocking the guys that work there because they like go by themselves and like drink at these bars after to unwind. But they always have like a lanyard and just kind of like odd dudes.
Yeah, they're always weirdos. They're always, I know. Like, weird, I mean, my brother's a fucking weirdo too.
You could clock them
also
like, from a mile away.
Also, this dude looks like my sleep paralysis demon. What the fuck?
Wait, who is that?
Aleister Crowley.
Oh yeah, well he's the founder of Satanism, right?
What the fuck? Yeah, you popped the top off too early, man.
Yeah. Wow, he's
Esoterica on YouTube is credible for stuff on Western esotericism. Rick Owens looking motherfucker. Yeah, bro, he's on that Rick.
Undeniable drip.
Yeah,
that elven
for sure.
drip.
Unspoken Riz too, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, that's freaky. Who else was at that meetup?
I don't know.
Early
the Thelemic
clout
Pantheon, a collection of gods and goddesses who either literally exist or serve as symbolic archetypes and metaphors, includes a number of deities. It's time for another one of these dudes, though. I think the environment is like ripe for that. Because, like, we are going back. I mean, this is like Chapo's take, which I agree with, but like we do behave like a lot of like upper middle class Americans behave like fucking medieval peasants at this point. So we do need someone to guide that, like the sheep, the flock.
We need another Aleister Crowley.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my God. I think we have enough.
Bro, don't go down this rabbit
minutes.
hole. You know how the Satanists get in chat? I know. They do get fucking annoying as shit. They can't help themselves.
Some people believe we already have a satanic leader. I'm not naming a name.
What, Joe Brandon?
No, well, maybe. I haven't kept tabs. I haven't kept tabs on what Q is theorizing.
Yeah, that's true. It's insane how motherfuckers want to be on Cardi dick. They dress just like him, copy his flow bar by bar. Most sane r/Cardi user.
It is kind of sad.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's fighting Cardi.
It's fucked up.
Man, that's wild. It's kind of sad.
What,
dude? That's spooky stuff. I mean, that's kind of like, to be clear, if I'm,
this is a patent that dumbed down so that if anyone has a patent, wouldn't figure it out or get any info from a release to public. So even if you have it, you won't have any idea what it was. So people are trying to figure out probably what.
I don't know.
Bro, you literally did the worst job of explaining this, dude. What the fuck? Okay, let's get back to this fucking thing.
Prototype that you
by the way, someone already destroyed this and said, like, no, this lady actually died, like, last year.
Maybe. I don't know.
On the picture earlier. And to quote an article from October 1st, 1999, which is done by a publication by the name of Popular Mechanics, the first thing to understand about Lee's device is that it is neither an anti-gravity machine nor a gravitational shield, says Jonathan Campbell, a scientist at the NASA Marshall Space Flight Center who has worked with Lee. It does not modify gravity, rather it produces a gravity-like field that may be either attractive or repulsive. Lee describes her device as a method of generating a never-before-seen force field that acts in a way that is similar to gravity. Since it may be either repulsive or attractive, she calls it a C-gravity. It adds to or counteracts or redirects gravity, explains Larry Smalley, the former chairman of the University of Alabama at Huntsville, UAH Physics Department. And it's also worth noting, for her device to work, it would require one other component, that being a rotating motor for the individual ions. As the next section read, although Lee's theory has passed through scientific quality control process called peer review, and a high-temperature superconducting disk has been constructed, important technical unknowns remain. This summer, Lee left UAH. She and several colleagues are striking out on their own to commercialize devices based on her theory and a proprietary high-temperature superconducting disk fabrication technique. Lee's next step is to raise the several $million needed to build the induction motor that individually spins the ions in the high-temperature superconducting disk. It will take at least 2 years to simulate the machine on a computer, says Smalley, who plans to join Lee's as yet unnamed company after he retires from UAH. And it's worth noting in the final statement given by Lee in this article, she states, investors want control over the technology. She says, this is too important. It should belong to all the American people. Now, with all that being said, I'm not a physics channel, and I can't really comment on the paper herself or her experimental results that she claimed to observe in and around this time. But what is worth noting...
I'm already losing my mind imagining this is the amount of math that they had to do to figure this shit out.
This is like not worth me even like looking at, because I just don't know what any of this means also.
The more I stare at these things and the more I try to comprehend what's going on here, the more likely I am to believe every spooky story you tell me. I'm just letting you know.
Well, also, like, to be clear, like my show, I'm not a research show. Like there's a lot of shows out there that like read Wikipedia articles and like just like basically do that on the podcast. I only talk to people who have firsthand encounters. They saw something with their own eyes. And we talk about that. And I'm mostly exploring what they do after that, right? Like after you see something that changes your understanding of the world, like how do you just go back to working at your job, and like what do you do with that information, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm really doing. I don't really need to get people to believe or not believe.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel you.
And I'm not like a expert. Disclaimer. But so I only focus on like firsthand encounters.
Okay, this is the other guy, Eugene Pokletno.
But what is rather bizarre about that article we just read was the fact that it was in 1999, and just 2 years prior, a final experiment that she did showed that little to no effect was present at all in her theory, stating this result put new limits on strength and range of the proposed coupling between superconductors and gravity. But despite this fact, sometime after this final paper had been published, she would still continue to leave her position at the college and would leave to start a company called AC Gravity LLC. And the other professor that Ning Li was working alongside, that man by the name of Douglas Torr, would go on to found his own company by the name of Phase Space Time LLC. I should say it's rather bizarre that if you truly believed that this theory was a dead end, then why would you then leave your job and start a company
Not
off
like
that theory that
phase up,
supposedly
but
didn't
phase,
work?
like with a PH.
Or if we take this particular abstract at face value, why would you quit your job to study something that just had severe limits imposed on it? That seems like a risky idea to base your entire career off of. And I must say, one of the common themes that I came across when researching this particular topic is the frequent
Wait, why is he being like skeptical of the researcher's findings when she's not offering like what he wants to be real?
I don't know. Also, this guy's way of speaking is like, some people, the way they talk just trigger my brain to shut off. Like my ADD is kicking in heavy when he talks.
Yeah, the way he's describing it is
like,
it's
like immediately
it's like almost too pleasant. I don't know how
I
to describe it.
or he's maybe putting me in some kind of trance, but it'll be like 10 seconds of me listening to it, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm out. I'm reading the comments. That's definitely not helping either.
What are we covering next? The guy who got killed for inventing a water-powered car? Yeah, isn't that's a classic one, isn't it? Even I know about that one. The government killed him, brother.
How pilled is the audience is my question.
No, dude, this is I mean, look, this is a big audience, right? So there's always going to be like,
how many people we got in here right now?
Only around 30,000, 30,566.
Everybody take out your phone and go subscribe to Otherworld, please.
Well, I mean, we did that when there was like 35,000, so don't worry.
Oh, wait, they left? What made them leave? I scared them off. I didn't even start talking about gnomes yet, dude.
Yeah, the lack of
I didn't even start talking about, I didn't gnome pill anybody.
They're not pilled enough.
You want to get some real crazy shit?
What, gnomes?
Bro, I interviewed these Romanis. I don't know if you guys know about the Romani people, like
the
gypsies.
They know,
like is like what the
not the proper.
I know, but
he said the G word. It's time to cancel, Jack.
But historically, people know Romani people to be by that name. So, but they're actually a race of people that we didn't know the true origin until recently. I think it's traced back to India, actually.
Oh, really? I thought it was the Roman empire.
Well, they were in Europe a lot, but basically it's a nomadic group of people, and like they traveled around, and I think a lot of people think of like a fortune teller or like performers, and there's a lot of stereotypes, and they're very misunderstood. But one thing about them is that they're very spiritual people, and some of the earliest like psychics were Romani. And so I interviewed these two 5th generation psychics. Like, no matter what you think about it, I've always been fascinated with the Romani people. Just from like the perspective of a fascinating group. I mean, they're like these nomadic people who have never had a home, and like for the most part like hide. Also, a lot of them were killed in the Holocaust, and that's not talked about that much either, but there were a ton of Romanis killed and targeted.
And there's still a lot of resentment towards them in Europe, especially. Like they fucking hate Europeans.
And like
Romani people, like they hate them.
Stereotype. A lot of Romani people pretend to be Greek. Like they'll just lie like their entire life, but they have very interesting cultures. So anyway, I wanted to interview these people anyway. They hit me up with this story, but secretly I was like, I also think they'll be interesting. And I thought it'd be cool to like talk to them about what it's like being Romani and like dealing with these stereotypes. And also like they mentioned something about like TikTok witches and being annoyed by it. So I thought it'd be funny and like interesting. And it was. They basically run a psychic shop where they like people come in and they just try to help them with whatever they come in with. But they're saying that like a big problem that they deal with now is like all of the TikTok people that like basically like witchcraft or like experimenting with that realm is like, it'll be trending on TikTok and like all these people start fucking around with it, and then something will happen to them, and then they get scared, and then they come into their psychic shop and like want help, and it annoys them. And also I think these people feel like there's cultural appropriation going on or something. But anyway, they tell me a bunch of crazy stories, and I start asking them about what. And you guys, like, for the skeptical people, in this crowd, like just brace yourself because this is about to get a little weird. But
a little weird. Yo, dude, are you kidding me?
Bro.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Like half the chat's already like they're like, okay, but like not really believing in it. If it's gonna get wilder than that, okay, let's hear it. I want to hear it though.
Well, and this is wild to me too. So, but you'll be okay. So they tell me all sorts of stuff. Mind you, I start this interview on Zoom during the day, and like by the end of the interview, it's like pitch black. I'm like sitting in the dark where I like realize I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta turn my light on. Like that much time has passed. I'm talking to these people. I'm like, what else comes into your shop? Like people come in with nutty stuff, right? Like, you know, what? No matter what you believe it in this stuff, like I'm sure there's really interesting people coming in there seeking help, and like I asked them, you know, if anything stood out, and they're like, well, you know, one of the worst is gnomes. And I'm like, no, like I literally start laughing, like, and they're like, and they start laughing too. They're like, people have worshipped gnomes and they come to us. Like, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like a garden gnome? And like, I think this is the funniest thing ever. Like this actually kind of like ended that interview almost because I started getting too distracted and like laughing. But
like Keemstar, like what are we talking?
bro, like literally worshiping like a classic gnome. And I'm laughing because I was like, wait, are gnomes real? Like I thought we made those up. Like, I'm like, is that like, dude, I thought it was just like something you put in your yard or whatever, like that, like worshiping that.
Yeah.
So,
bro,
dude,
there's so much more that you could worship than this thing.
No,
dude.
okay, so like they finally, and this will be an episode eventually, but
These are American gnomes because they have guns.
Dude, so it did eventually spook me because they're laughing too. They're like, I know, it's crazy. They're like, but believe it or not, 3 people have like come to us with this. But what they ended up telling me, and it's still so funny to me, but what did kind of like spook me is they're like, I guess there is kind of like a weird tradition of this and like people worshiping like fairies back in the day or things like that. But they're just saying that like basically what they tried to explain to me is that like if you start worshiping something and you're making offerings to something, like it may not be a gnome, but like there might be something that's gonna like be on the other side ready to be worshipped, you know, or pretend to be the gnome essentially. And so they've like had to deal with these people who like started worshiping a gnome and like got really into it to the point where like the gnome is asking them to do horrible things in order to be rewarded. And
like
then,
what?
like, they told me, and like I'm not saying I believe this or not, it's just what they told me. They told me that the gnome eventually asks for your firstborn son, and they've told me that
What the fuck?
they've seen it happen where the gnome has taken a firstborn son, and they don't know if it was like given. Dude, they've told me, and this will be in a thing, like they've told me like this has happened 3 times with them. And it became like, it's one of those things where it became like, I don't know if this is funny or horrifying or like what. It was like dizzying. But the spooky thing I think is like, you know.
No, the spooky thing is what you just said, dog.
Yeah.
Not what? Firstborn?
I know. And I guess they say it starts with like just a little thing like putting out like
that.
like a little snack or something.
Look at that.
Oh, and it's not like a gnome running around. To be clear, like they never said that there was like a gnome like running around. It's like a statue, and then from what I understand, it would be like they would hear the gnome ask for something, be like, that was good. Can I have a cake next time? And then like the person will like bring the gnome a cake, and then the next time it wants a bed, and then the next time it wants a wife, and like eventually the gnome starts giving them stuff, usually money.
Why would you fucking give the gnome anything?
That's a confusing part. Is
Look
like
at this.
why...
Look at this one. Look at this one. Look.
Oh my god, dude! This title: 5 scary gnomes caught on camera.
Don't laugh too hard, bro. Before you know
That's
it,
so
the gnome's
sick.
gonna fucking visit you and be like, "Give me your firstborn."
Those people like they know it's funny. Like they're laughing with me. They're like, I know you think it's funny, but like, and it seems crazy, but like we have to deal with this. But I don't know. But to be clear, like on what they told me is that it's not like a gnome running around. It's like something's talking to them. And they're also, I also asked them, like, do you think there's that gnomes exist? And they're like, it doesn't really matter. They're basically saying that, like, if you're putting that out there, they compared it to a 1-900 number. Like, you know, those old, like, party chat lines? Like, you'd, like, call this number and, like, talk to, like, somebody sexy, like a horny person, like, in your area. And it would, like, link you with somebody. They're, like, saying it's like one of those hotlines where, like, if you're reaching out, like, something's going to pick up, but you don't know what it's going to be. And it's probably going to be bad.
This person says the hubris of people who have never experienced paranormal shit is honestly just funny to me. It's easy to be condescending about it when you have had to deal with that kind of fear and confusion firsthand. Epic Reddit atheist shit is just really a coping mechanism. It's easy to dismiss it as schizo shit and believe that stuff wouldn't happen until you experience it, especially when there's others around to corroborate it.
Dude, I agree with that 100%. And that's why the Neil deGrasse Tyson stuff, like, bothers me. But I mean, it's mostly because I've talked to so many people, like, so many, like, quote unquote normal people who have just had, like, a specific experience in their life that's unexplainable and terrifying. And it's like, it affects their life a lot of times. So it's weird to just, like, completely invalidate it from that position. It's annoying. And usually, like, useless. It's like, man, like, if you don't believe it, like, that's fine. Like, go do something else. Who cares?
I think if you have a lot of motivation to see shit, you're going to see it. That's what I think. And I don't know if it means it's real or not.
Don't worship gnomes. My number one. That's also, Ouija boards is, like, the number one thing I've heard never to do.
Top 10 scary ghost videos to ruin sleepy time.
Oh my God. Dude, the shit on YouTube is so funny, so fake too. I mean, obviously, but, like,
nothing paranormal or supernatural
over the reverse lights. So I'm going to show you what the stock reverse lights look like, and then I'm going to uncover.
Okay, I don't even want to look at it. It is going to ruin my sleepy time.
No, dude, that shit
it's gonna ruin my sleepy time, and I don't want to ruin it.
And that stuff makes me mad too, because it's like when there's so much fake stuff out there, like most stuff put out there is like fake clickbait. You know, it like for anybody that does experience something, it just makes them feel more crazy. You know, that's like they never talk about it.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm just more so afraid that I'm gonna start fucking believing in it, and then I'm gonna be motivated to see it, and like. I've gone for 31 years without like having these scary ghost sightings or anything like that.
Well, don't be scared. There's nothing to worry about.
Bro, what do you mean? Of course I'm fucking worried. Like I'm worried that I'm going to start seeing shit, you know?
It can't hurt you. That's how to not be scared.
That's what you think.
Every expert I've talked to says it can't hurt you. It can only like deceive you into hurting yourself.
Okay. You know, that's what I'm saying. I'm just like, I don't
know if I'm telling that to you or the chat or who needs it more, you know?
I definitely need it too. I definitely need it. VFX artists debunk Pentagon UFO videos. Ooh.
What is that dot? It could be anything.
This is interesting, but you can immediately tell what's going on.
It could be an alien. Dude, I could literally make you that shot in After Effects, and it would look exactly the same.
Bro.
So what are you telling me, Jamie? There's a UFO yesterday?
Yeah. What does the U.S. government know about UFOs?
Newly leaked video allegedly shows one of the U.S. Navy.
I like the Corridor Digital guys, though. I think they're great.
I didn't say anything. I'm glad I didn't say anything.
Stealth ships tracking an unknown object in the sky.
There's stuff flying in our airspace. We don't know what it is. We need to find out.
If the whole video, though, is being like,
the Pentagon released a series of UFO videos.
80 pixels.
We have footage of things flying. We don't know what they are.
Yeah, but doesn't that make it?
It's
doesn't that make it a way?
100p video.
I know, but like, doesn't that make it less credible almost? Like, it's just fucking, I don't know. What is this? I've walked out of locations with marks all over me. They can hurt you. What? Stop, dude. Fucking chill, chat. Jesus Christ.
But I mean, but scratching and stuff is not.
UFOs is not aliens. UFO stands for unidentified flying object. I'm sure a bunch of people know that, but it's become synonymous with like flying saucers and aliens.
What they did though is they were like,
let's see what these guys' evidence
UFOs. Let's call them UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. It's totally more accurate because sometimes like what you're filming isn't a physical object,
does anybody in the chat have a good story?
A trick of light or a shadow.
Maybe, okay, like actually comment if you've experienced something yourself.
a sensor
It
or
could even be a
camera
yes.
reacts to light.
Yes, yes.
We wanted to take our
That's a
visual
lot of
effects
yes.
artist eye and apply it to these videos because we spend a
Hasan,
lot
there's
of
a lot of
time
people in here
analyzing
saying they've
footage, analyzing pixels, trying to figure out what makes things look
Can you do
fake.
a poll
A
on
big
here?
part of our time is spent trying to replicate
I'd
what
say
an
there's
image
more yeses.
looks like once it's passed through a lens and a camera.
Okay, they're also
that's
saying
what
never
visual effects
trust the
truly
chat.
are. It's not just going, oh, does something look real? It's no, does this look like the image was captured with a real camera?
Hasan's going to the
I
bathroom.
haven't seen any of these videos. And
I will
it's
say
mostly
that
just
Hasan
'cause
has
I
a
saw, like,
very
a
nice,
screenshot of one. I'm like, okay,
respectable
same old
bathroom.
thing, you know. Here's a
He
dot,
has the bathroom
you know.
of a man, not a boy.
Mass Effect.
I was very impressed. Okay, if you haven't, I'm gonna take this time to tell everybody to go subscribe to Otherworld.
So what does it say? Is it a flying triangle alien?
Also,
well, it seems to grow and
if
shrink
you want to
like
follow
an
the
iris is
socials, it's
adjusting or something like that.
at Otherworld
That's what I
Pod.
see. Like, okay, so this is guy.
Funny
the guy
enough-
literally held his phone up to his.
Get something else. I had the wrong link in my Twitter for I don't know how long, but at least a couple days. I was doing heavy promotion and linking to some other podcast called Otherworld. It was called like Otherworld Fiction Podcast. And I don't know how long I had the wrong link in my Twitter bio, but like, shout out to anybody who listened to the wrong podcast and were like, I don't even know if it's good. I don't know if it's good or bad, so I don't know what experience, but I imagine it was like probably different than what I expected. And also to the hosts of that podcast, you're welcome if you got some extra listeners. Hasan, is there a way to do a poll? I think that's what we need to do. I asked them. Oh yeah, I love those. Those are all great flavors. I'll do the grape. Thank you.
Yo, don't touch the computer? Wait, why?
What? Smoked hella DMT. I want to do an episode about DMT as well. There's
Have you ever done it?
I haven't. But
all right, what do you want to poll?
People that if people have experienced something firsthand that they consider paranormal.
What's up? All right.
The most basic level.
Wait, a poll's already active.
Oh.
Oh, one of my mods already made it. I voted no.
41% is a lot.
I mean, but like, what do they define as like paranormal?
I know. I mean, I made it pretty broad. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of people that keep stuff. That's the thing. Like, and people have told me like diet versions of things until they trust me, and then they tell me like the real version. That's usually more extreme. That happens a lot.
Ghost encounter. I went to sleep super horny and woke up with cum all over me several times. I think there's a ghost sucking my dick.
Bro. Don't ask questions.
Okay, 38% says yes, 62% say no.
That's pretty good.
I have a trope, or I guess a HasanAbiism that I routinely mention, which is that 30% of Americans will agree to anything, no matter how insane it is. Like, you can get 30% of Americans to believe and agree to anything, minimum.